Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're diving into the world of contemporary African art.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, and to do that, we'll be taking a closer look at the work of Alphonsus Eligbue.
Okay.
He's a visual artist from Nigeria.
I'm excited to learn more about him.
Yeah, me too. We'll also be exploring platforms like AfriArt Space
Ah, yes.
and how they are helping artists like him
Right.
gain global recognition.
It's a really interesting time for the African art scene.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for a long time, access to international markets and even just basic art supplies
Yeah, like the fundamental.
has been a major barrier for so many African artists.
It really has. It's been a struggle for a lot of them.
Yeah, and reading through Alphonsus's profile on AfriArt Space,
Right.
his story really highlights that
Makes you think, doesn't it?
it does. Imagine having this passion for art, growing up, but having very limited access to materials to express yourself.
It's a reality for many aspiring artists
Oh, yeah.
across the continent.
Yeah.
But you know what's inspiring about Alphonsus?
What's that?
Is his resourcefulness.
Right.
He didn't let those limitations stop him.
It's amazing.
Instead, he used whatever he could find,
Wow.
even replicating images and photographs to hone his skills.
That's incredible. Like, speaks to a certain resilience
I think so.
and determination that you see in a lot of African artists.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, pushing boundaries.
Totally. And, that resourcefulness
Yeah,
often leads to a really unique and innovative approach to art making.
I see.
And with Alphonsus, it led him to his preferred technique,
Oh, wow.
charcoal and paint on paper.
I like that combination.
Yeah, to create these intricate diagrams and figures.
When I was looking at his work, that really stood out to me. I mean, what would his art have looked like if he'd had easy access to more traditional materials?
That's a great question.
Right. Like, would his style be completely different?
It makes you think about the relationship
It does.
between limitations
Yeah.
and artistic development.
Right.
In Alphonsus's case, it seems like those limitations actually fueled his creativity
Yeah.
and pushed him to experiment more.
To go outside the box a bit.
Exactly.
And you can really see that experimentation in the variety of works that are showcased on his AfriArt Space profile.
Oh, for sure.
Like we see Untitled, which uses mixed media.
Right.
And then there's The Meeting of Abundance and Needite,
Okay.
which uses charcoal and oil paint
Uh-huh.
on chipboard paper.
Oh, interesting.
And pieces like Beauty from Within and The Meeting of Abundance and Need 6.
Yeah, I saw those.
They give you a sense of his artistic vision, like how broad it is.
I agree. Each piece offers a unique perspective
Yeah.
into his exploration of form,
Yeah.
texture, and composition.
And it's so interesting to see that some of his pieces, like The Meeting of Abundance and Needite, have already been sold.
Yeah.
Which shows that there's a growing interest in his art.
Absolutely. I mean, that speaks to the increasing demand
Right.
for contemporary African art.
And that's where platforms like AfriArt Space come in.
Yes, they play such a crucial role.
Yeah, they're not just online galleries. They're really promoting these African artists, curators, and galleries to a worldwide audience.
It's really powerful to see technology bridge that gap,
It is. It's amazing what technology can do these days.
connecting artists and enthusiasts from different parts of the world,
Their website mentions a mission to promote both traditional and modern African art,
right?
which I think is really important.
It's a great balance.
Yeah, it's about preserving the cultural heritage, but also giving space for contemporary voices and expressions.
It's a delicate balance,
It is.
but they seem to be navigating it well.
They do, and they feature such a range of art forms: acrylic paintings, mixed media, handcrafted sculptures.
I was impressed by that.
Yeah, they even have a section for virtual exhibitions.
Oh, yeah, those are becoming really popular.
They are. For someone who may not be familiar, can you explain what that is?
Sure. Essentially, it's a way to experience an art exhibition, but online. So you can view the artwork,
Uh-huh.
learn about the artist, and even interact with other visitors.
Oh, wow.
All from home. It makes art more accessible.
That makes sense. So it's not just buying and selling art.
Right.
It's about fostering a sense of community
Absolutely.
and creating a space for dialogue.
Exactly. And AfriArt Space incorporates a lot of features to build trust and facilitate those connections.
Yeah, like what?
Well, they have artist and gallery profiles,
Oh, cool.
an African art calendar to highlight upcoming events,
Oh, nice.
and even a donation feature.
For those who want to support them.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they really emphasize security
Absolutely.
for both buyers and sellers.
Really important in the online art market.
Yeah, I noticed things like easy returns, quality guarantee, and safe and secure payments.
Yeah, they're trying to make it a seamless and secure experience for everyone.
For the artists, the galleries, and the collectors.
That's right. They cater to all the stakeholders in the African art ecosystem.
I was intrigued by the donation feature.
Uh-huh.
You don't see that everywhere.
It's a thoughtful addition.
Yeah, it suggests a deeper understanding of the challenges that a lot of African artists face.
Right. It allows people to directly support artists
Yeah.
and help foster a more vibrant art scene.
So they're not just about commerce.
No, they're not.
They're using art as a vehicle for positive change.
Exactly. And that brings us back to Alphonsus Eligbue.
Okay.
How do you think a platform like AfriArt Space impacts his trajectory as an artist?
Well, I think for someone like Alphonsus who comes from a background where access to resources was limited,
Uh-huh.
AfriArt Space provides a global stage.
I see.
It connects him with a wider audience.
Right.
And it could open door to collaborations, exhibitions, and opportunities.
Absolutely. It's incredibly empowering.
It
It
is.
gives him a platform to control his narrative,
To really tell his story.
Exactly. And to connect with collectors from around the world.
It's like they're helping to level the playing field in a way
Yeah.
for African artists.
It's a powerful shift.
It is. It challenges the traditional power structures
Uh-huh.
and opens up new possibilities for artists who have been overlooked.
Absolutely.
It's fascinating to think about the implications of all this.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about individual artists.
Right.
We're talking about the potential to reshape the entire landscape of the art world.
I agree. It's exciting to see where things go from here.
Absolutely. Yeah, it really does feel like a democratization of the art world.
Absolutely. And it's not just about giving artists a wider audience.
What else?
It's also about diversifying the narratives and perspectives that are represented within the art world itself.
Yeah, for so long, the dominant narrative in the art world has been shaped by Western perspectives and institutions.
Right.
And platforms like AfriArt Space
Yeah.
are challenging that by giving African artists a platform to tell their own stories on their own terms.
It's a really powerful shift.
And it can be eye-opening for those of us who are used to viewing art through a more Western lens.
Absolutely.
Forces us to confront our own biases
Yes.
and assumptions and to really appreciate the incredible diversity and richness
Yeah.
of artistic expression that exists across the African continent.
It really does.
It's like we're expanding our understanding of what art can be.
Right.
We're seeing new forms, new techniques, new ways of using materials that we might never have encountered otherwise.
Like, think about Alphonsus's use of charcoal and oil paint on chipboard paper.
Yeah, that's so unique.
It really is. It speaks to his ingenuity and resourcefulness.
I'm curious about those specific choices. Like, what kind of effect do those materials achieve in his work?
Well, charcoal is really versatile.
Okay.
It can create a wide range of tones and textures.
Interesting.
Yeah, from soft and subtle
Uh-huh.
to bold and dramatic.
And then you combine it with oil paint.
Yes, and that adds a richness and depth of color.
Wow.
You get this interesting interplay of light and shadow.
I see. And then the chipboard paper.
Right, which is basically recycled cardboard.
Yeah.
Adds another layer to that.
It's like taking something that's often discarded and transforming it into something beautiful.
Exactly. And it speaks to that sense of sustainability and resourcefulness
Right.
that we often see in African art.
And that resourcefulness is something that you see reflected not just in Alphonsus's work, but also in the way that AfriArt Space is structured.
Oh, for sure.
They've created this platform that is both functional and accessible.
Yeah, and they're using technology to overcome limitations
Uh-huh.
that have traditionally hindered the growth of the African art market.
Like the virtual exhibitions?
Yes, they're a game changer for artists.
In what way?
They don't have to worry about the cost of travel or even participating in physical exhibitions.
I see.
It allows them to showcase their work to a global audience
Right.
without all the added costs, shipping insurance, all the logistics of moving physical artwork.
Yeah, that makes sense. It also allows art enthusiasts to experience art from all over the world
Exactly.
without leaving their homes.
It's like a virtual museum that's constantly expanding,
I like that.
with new artists and exhibitions being added all the time.
And it's not just about access, is it? It's also about fostering a sense of community
For sure.
and creating a space for dialogue and exchange.
Absolutely. Platforms like AfriArt Space,
Yeah.
they're not just transactional spaces for buying and selling art.
Right.
They're spaces where people can connect and learn and share their perspectives.
Yeah, on art and culture.
And that cross-cultural exchange is so important.
It is.
It helps break down stereotypes, build bridges between communities,
Yeah.
and foster a greater understanding of different cultures.
It's a reminder that art has the power to transcend borders
Absolutely.
and connect people from all walks of life.
And with platforms like AfriArt Space, that power is being amplified
Yeah.
and made accessible to a much wider audience.
Than ever before.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really inspiring to see how technology can help create a more inclusive and interconnected art world.
Yeah, and I think it's important to remember It's not just about the technology itself.
What else is there?
It's also about the people behind it.
Okay.
The people who created AfriArt Space, they saw a need and they built something to address it.
Right.
They're really working hard to create a more equitable and accessible art world.
Yeah, I think that's something to celebrate for sure.
Absolutely.
It makes me wonder about the impact this has, not just for artists like Alphonsus, but for emerging artists who are just starting out.
Yeah, that's a good point. What kind of opportunities do you think this opens up for them?
Well, I think for one, it gives them visibility,
Okay.
They can showcase their work to a global audience,
Right.
and they don't have to rely on those traditional
Like the
gatekeepers.
galleries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So they can build a following online,
Uh-huh.
connect with potential collectors,
Right.
even sell their work directly through the platform.
Yeah, they can really take control of their own destiny,
Right.
create their own opportunities.
Instead of waiting for someone to give them a chance.
Exactly. And that sense of agency is so important,
Yeah.
especially for artists who maybe come from backgrounds where opportunities have been limited.
Right. It gives them the power to define their own success.
Yeah, on their own terms.
It also creates a space for mentorship and collaboration.
Oh,
I
definitely.
noticed they have a blog and a forum
Uh-huh.
where artists can connect,
Yeah, I saw that.
share advice, and learn from each other.
Yeah, that peer-to-peer support is so valuable,
It is.
especially for young artists who are just starting out.
Trying to navigate that world.
Yeah, it could be a tough world.
Yeah, so as we wrap up our deep dive into Alphonsus Eligbue and platforms like AfriArt Space,
Okay?
what's the key takeaway you'd like our listeners to walk away with?
I think the main thing is that the art world is changing,
Okay.
and I think it's changing for the better.
In what way?
Well, platforms like AfriArt Space are helping to create an art world that's more diverse and inclusive and more accessible. And that's really exciting.
It is. It sounds like we're seeing a future where artists from all backgrounds have the opportunity to share their perspectives,
Right.
connect with a global audience, and create art that is both meaningful and impactful.
I agree. It's a really exciting time for the art world.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today to dive deep into all this.
It was my pleasure.
And to our listeners, we encourage you to explore AfriArt Space.
Yeah, check it out.
Discover those incredible artists, showcase their,
Uh-huh.
and maybe even consider supporting their work.
You might just discover your new favorite artist.
Exactly. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the world of art.